Kanye West. When you hear that name, you probably think of his music that shaped the generations, like albums like The College Dropout or My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You also might know him for his endless controversies. But in Kanye's story, there's one thing that's not really talked about, this being one of them. Believe it or not, but this one has nothing to do with music, sneakers, or running for president. Today we're going to be diving into Kanye's attempt to create a show that was a part sitcom, part ego trip, and all Kanye. Now, if you're a fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm, you know the beautiful, awkward show where Larry David navigates life through his everyday disasters. In the early 2000s, Curb Your Enthusiasm was a cultural phenomenon. It's around the same time Kanye was thriving as a rapper. Kanye loved Curb. He saw something in Larry David's brutally honest portrayal of social mishaps. And he thought, what if I did this, but as Kanye West? And so, the idea of A Little Inappropriate was born. This show would have followed Kanye through his loosely scripted version of his own life, packed with a bunch of cringeworthy moments in awkward situations like Curb, and would push the boundaries of comedy. The premise? Kanye as Kanye navigating his everyday life, but with a twist. He wasn't just being himself, he was performing as himself. A Little Inappropriate was designed to be a part reality show, part fictional comedy, and all Kanye. But there was one small problem. Kanye cannot act. Kanye is no stranger to performing. He's did it in front of millions of people, on a stage, under a spotlight, for decades at least. But acting is a completely different lane. Acting requires vulnerability and the ability to let the camera see your flaws. So how does Kanye, the visionary rapper, do this? How does he pull off a sitcom? Enter the supporting cast. Kanye knew he couldn't carry the show with his acting chops alone, so he surrounded himself with actual actors and actual professionals who can handle the scripted parts. In this show, the supporting cast was supposed to be the Larry Davids and Kanye was supposed to be a straight man. Yeah, you see the problem? Now here's where things get tricky. Unlike Curb, where Larry is aware that he's the problem, Kanye's show has a different energy to it. Behind the scenes, things were just as chaotic. Reports from the set suggested that Kanye often ignored scripts entirely, improvising lines in a way that confused the other co-actors. At its core, A Little Inappropriate was supposed to be a mirror Curb, but with Kanye's unique spin on things. The awkward tension, the misunderstandings, and the over-the-top confrontations, they were all there. But where Curb finds humor in it, and Larry David's complete lack of awareness, A Little Inappropriate struggled because Kanye wasn't willing to be self-aware. So what happened to A Little Inappropriate? Well, the pilot was shot, but never made it to air. Kanye was known to be a perfectionist, so he wasn't satisfied with the final product. He didn't think it represented his vision fully, and if you know anything about Kanye, you know that if it's not perfect in his eyes, it's not going out into the world. Ignoring that album, ultimately, A Little Inappropriate just became another one of Kanye's unfinished products. A testimony to his relentless ambition and his drive to explore new creative territories. In a way though, A Little Inappropriate was ahead of its time, long before the lines between celebrities and reality blurred completely. Kanye was experimenting with the idea of turning his life into a sitcom. Overall, in my opinion, A Little Inappropriate is not a good show. It's just Diet Coke, Curb Your Enthusiasm without all the things that make Curb Your Enthusiasm funny.